Now, in 1979, Betty Edwards published the first edition of her book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. I wonder if you know it. As a result of her experiences as an arts teacher, Betty Edwards came to the conclusion that the arts are essential for critical thinking, perception, and problem solving. During her early years of teaching, many of her high school students found drawing very difficult, but couldn't say why. When she asked students why they could draw one week but not the next, a typical reply was something like, "I don't know, I'm just seeing things differently." One day, Betty Edwards asked her students to do a drawing upside down. It was a Picasso drawing, and to everyone's surprise, it was done very, very well. So this time when she asked her students why they drew so well upside down, they said it was because they didn't know what they were drawing. I have tried this activity with adult students, and the results were remarkable, especially as many claimed they could not draw. Unfortunately, this activity takes too long for us to do today, but I have included the link if you want to have a go. Just don't spoil it by looking at the picture the right side up first. So to make up for that, instead we will do another activity from Betty Edwards' book shortly, which I think you will enjoy. Now, Betty's discovery of drawing upside down led her to doing research on the functions of the human brain. As you know, the brain is made up of two hemispheres. The left hemisphere controls the right side of the body, and the right hemisphere controls the left. Betty refers to this as L mode and R mode. In L mode, we use language, symbols, and numbers, and our thinking is logical and analytical. Most of us favor L mode as we are language dominant. R mode is the creative side of our brain where we are nonverbal, visual, spatial, and intuitive. When the students drew upside down, they used this R mode, and this is the key to accessing the creative side of our brain. What happens is we create a shift from the left side of the brain to the right. And shortly we're going to do a drawing activity from the book to try and show you what that shift feels like. First, I want to do another little activity to illustrate. I want you to look at this chart, and I want you to say the color out loud, not the word, reading across from left to right. When you've got to the end, give me some feedback on how you went. Joanne comments she had to say it very slowly. And Helen said it slowed down her thinking processes. Ella said, I had to really focus on each colour and ignore the letters. Christine said it was tricky, had to think about it. Bonnie said, I took my time to read it. And Lorraine said, went well, but had to focus really hard not to say the word. Maren said, had to slow everything down. And Rebecca said, okay, if I pointed at the word, the minute I moved my finger, I started saying the colour and focus went crazy. Yeah, I can relate to that. And Renee said, really had to focus and read more slowly. So there you go. That is you experiencing what it's like when the messages your brain is getting is conflicting. Your visual side is telling you one thing, which is your right side of the brain, and your language dominant side is telling you something else. And you've created a conflict there. So you've probably all seen this illustration before. What do you see first? Tell me what is the first thing you see. Write it in the chat box. Ella says two faces. Ria says two faces. So does Maren and Marg and Natasha and Helen. Christine says she sees the vase first. Kerry sees the vase. Everyone else is saying, oh no, Bonnie says faces, Sean says vase, Chelsea says vase, people say, Renee says two people facing each other. Okay, so we see different things, but what you should be able to see in that picture is the profile of two faces or the shape of a vase. Now, we're going to do this activity which is intended to create conflict between your left and right brain modes, so you can again experience what it feels like when your brain does make a shift from the left to the right. This activity is on your worksheet, which is why Mandy asked you if you had it earlier, and you will need a pencil to draw with. A pen is okay, a pencil would be much better. So once we go to the next slide, please listen carefully to all my directions before you start.